And welcome back into the SEC Qualifiers North America. This is week one. I'm still Dolson. Finch, though, joins me on the desk for the finals now. Hype Unit was able to win their semifinal matchup and locked and go to just quick thoughts on matchup number one.
Yeah.
Basket and the boys, they have huge leads in 2 of those games, but not able to get it done.
I want to make sure I'm prefacing it all by saying this isn't the most impactful game they've ever played, right? So I can cut them a little bit of slack. But like I said before, we have seen them in this position where, you know, they play with this, we can turn it on at any time mentality, and it didn't pay out for them at the biggest moments. I think it's certainly significant that they weren't able to do better in that set.
Well, you can see how Hype Unit got here, a 3-2 set over Trick Babushka. And these finals are going to be a best of 3, so Hype Unit locked and goated first to 2. And you'll lift the, not the hammer today, right? As you point out, no hammers to be lifted here today. You'll be the week one, if nothing else, bragging rights, right? I mean, you're the first team to win the finals. Theoretically, this is when most of the talent, or all of the talent, is in this league, so this is maybe when it's going to be most competitive.
I think so. I think it's easy to say this is the most competitive of the pool, and winning that would make you the top seed then going forward, right? So there's certainly a lot on the line here with them. And then this team that we're about to watch, this Hype Unit squad, should be pretty familiar to you all. If you remember Hype Unit of console, they're constituted very much the same way. They still got Griff here with this roster, still have oBoronic, still have Layers as well in the jungle. It's just that now they've got Leon support for them as well as Uzzy.
Well, and they found actually decent success, the Hype Unit console league
They
team.
did. They were real good, yeah.
How do you think this new look Hype Unit is going to fare? As you mentioned, they add in Leon, they add in Uzzy. How does that change up maybe their future?
I think that it's going to be really good for them. We got a chance to watch some of how this team plays because Leon was streaming when they were doing some of their Challenger Cup, right?
And good.
It did look good. It would be impossible not to notice how much he is talking, right? So he is going to be the leader here for this team, and that you could trust Oboronic and Layers to still execute mechanically at a really high level.
Well, let's jump into picks and bans for game number one. Locked and goated now a couple of times today. Have opted towards that double assassin type of composition, and it seemingly worked out. Do you like kind of that style of play from them?
I think so, right? Because you're able to have andinster still play aggressive and still play the gods that he's comfortable with, right? He played a lot of time in the jungle, so andinster gets to play Circuit. Basically, it's what he's been used to all along. You let him play that aggressive support. And then obviously Cyno, World's MVP, has plenty of hard carry potential. We saw that in the game where he played the set. We saw it on the Kali. Just put him into a position where he can succeed, and I think that this team's going to continue to do well as they have done. It's just a really tough challenge up against this Hype Unit roster.
I agree. It's a different look to kind of go up against a play style like that. Looking through the first 5 bans now, no real surprises except maybe the Ymir.
I would say the Ymir is a bit of a surprise here, certainly being banned out this early, but maybe that's something Locked and Goated like to play, or in particular Hyping as a draft that they're worried about dealing with all of these walls. But I certainly don't think Ymir is something that you standard have to ban out this high. We might get a chance to take a look at Odin, huh?
That's right. Gungear's Might, the 3. You don't have a quiz for me, right?
I do not have a quiz here.
Right. And I failed at least the first 2 questions.
Why does he think everyone would know the answers to those? I have no idea what he
Let me save myself for a minute, because I haven't had the chance to. This is a good segue. I figured that it was going to be like the bracket we saw, you know, best of 1s, best of 5s, and then a best of 3. Up to that point, just the best of 1s, how many kills were there? So that's why I said a couple hundred, not realizing it was the entire bracket. But that's my soapbox. I'm defending myself. That's going to be it. We do see the Odin, though, locked in here for Hype Unit.
And certainly a really strong pick, someone that's worth taking at a really high level. And if you're going to be Hype Unit, this can go to a couple places. Layers can play it. Uzzy can play this one as well. Potentially even can go to Leon and support. He was playing aggressive picks when we saw him streaming too, so I would expect that to be an option for them. Meanwhile, on the other side, though, you love seeing Thor and Merlin. A flex pick in this Thor could go solo. We see solo Thor a lot. Could go jungle too, so those are great top 2 picks.
And with Hype Unit going Morrigan and Chernobog, that's actually something we saw Basket and the boys do in our last set. Pick those 2 gods up. You don't really know right off the bat whether that's going to be a long lane Morrigan or Chernobog is going to go towards the mid.
Sure.
Does it jump out to you one way or the other? Do you kind of still like, I know aggro really likes those hunters in the mid lane.
Yeah, hunters or mid are really strong right now. Their itemization's good to get you a ton of presence. Plus, because it's Chernobog, you can impact those side lanes with your ultimate, even from the middle lane. The only thing is, a lot of that stuff's true for Morrigan too, right? Morrigan can turn into the Chernobog and suddenly impact multiple spots. There's a chance that maybe Morrigan can do a little bit more pressure in the long lane too. I think those are great flex picks for them. He can go anywhere. And Morrigan has great transformation targets with the Thor on the other side, Odin and Chernobog on her own side. I love Morrigan here.
I agree. I think she's a great pickup. Unbats and Erlang Shen for the 2 bans for Locked and Goated here. And then Hercules and Jormungandr are the final 2 for Hype Unit. Sobek, Hu Yi, maybe looking like that duo lane. Do you like that pair?
Yeah, this is kind of a bit of a duo lane of old, right? Sobek serves them up, and then Ho Yi knocks them down. So this certainly can work for them. Sobek feels a little bit kind of old schooly for supports nowadays. We're seeing so many assassins, we're seeing Horuses, all this aggression, but Sobek certainly can still hold his own weight. But now they're adding Susano to the list alongside this Terra. This is making me think that it must be this Odin then for Uzzy over into the solo lane, right?
Okay.
And then you're seeing the Susano jungle Terra support. Terra can be strong, but she can feel a bit weak in those very first early levels because she needs to be able to chain her abilities together. Ho Yi Sobek might be able to get some pressure.
And now we see the full 5 locked in for Locked and Goated. What do you think about the composition they've drafted here?
I like this composition, right? This is one that feels like they really want a team fight. Look at all this CC between the Thor and the Sobek.
Yeah.
They are going to be set up for this set and this Merlin to Ho Yi all to find some great damage. This Ho Yi kind of makes up for some of that big AoE that you might want on this team as well. I think they've got a nice draft on the side of Locked.
Yeah, and they've got some conditional CC with that Ho Yi as well, so maybe some kill potential in that duo lane. Locked and Goated, an easy road here to the finals. They had to overcome some deficits, but that they did. Game 1 of this best of 3. Let's kick it off.
Thanks so much, Dave and Finch, on the desk there, or the standing desk, I guess is what it is. It is still a desk, right?
It's a table.
Yeah, we get chairs.
That's right, we get chairs.
It's been years since I've had a chair.
Well, we had chairs off camera last year.
Yeah, but
and the year before that.
the cozier chairs.
And
Ow.
these are much comfier, I will say.
Into this game, though, Hype Unit up against Locked and Goated. You don't recognize some of these names. At the moment, I don't see health bar, so that's definitely one issue I'm seeing right now, but that'll be a fun one of guess the health bar. Check the right side of your screen on the left if you need it. You can also see it there. But Hype Unit is a team of console boys that you should recognize against, you know, a pretty established team at Locked and Goated. They just beat Baskin's team.
And looked really, really good doing it. 3-0 and a bunch of different varieties. One dominant game, one comeback game, one game where it was pretty even throughout the majority of it. I think that this Hype Unit team is a team that should really excite a lot of people because this is a team that has a lot of presence on it. I mean, you might not know them if you've only watched PC games forever, but Layerssss, oBoronic, oGryph, these are legitimate stars in the making, I think. I mean, these are guys that can make a really big impact. Uzzy has been around forever and is once touted as a guy who was ready to take that next step. Fell back a little bit. I think this could be his revitalization year. And then El Leon, a.k.a. Chapo, usually in that support role, not playing in this game with Visions there. But Visions was the coach for that team on the Hype Unit console side, now playing as the sub/coach for them. Still a good player in his own right. I think that this team has a lot of potential.
Quick pause going through between the two teams, by the way, but at least you get to see the new, cooler-looking set.
Here are our chairs that are so
cozy, right? Look, I've got Mike behind me. It's a good day to have Mike.
Oh my God, he is right behind you.
Right
We got Cardi B, dead center.
There's a live show with the boys over there. Why are you still there? You're not on air anymore.
They were there.
They just
there was a pause. They were ready to help us.
Oh, really?
That's what they do. That's the job.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I've never known that before. That's not the way. Get out of here. Go on, Dave.
Yeah.
Sling your hook. We don't want you anymore.
What if we wanted them to take over?
What is with the crab music, though?
I don't know.
It's a bit too much.
Too much for sure. I mean, one crab music per day, maybe even per week, might be okay. Yeah, Papa, that's really good. Yeah, thanks, Tyler. We really appreciate that about you.
I died a little bit more inside there. I didn't know I could. I will go back to what we said about Hype Unit, though. On Layerssss is a player that, for me, I thought he could have gone pro this year. He didn't get picked up for a team, but he showed it in the qualifiers. He showed it in multiple stages. He's one of those console boys that should have been looked at.
Kid's a winner. I mean, he's won ever since he got on. And he really came onto the console scene, really, really dominated right away.
Yeah.
And then it was, is he mature enough? Is he too young? You know, that's kind of
Will it transfer to PC, I guess, is another
right. I
case,
mean, yeah, exactly. But we saw how well he played against top-level PC competition at that qualifier LAN last year to try and go to Worlds. That team almost made it to Worlds and got very, very close. So I think this team is going to have a lot of eyes on them basically throughout this SEC phase, and for good reason. I'm excited to see what they can do. I think that they can compete with teams like
Cyno,
Locked and Goated, and Baskin and the boys. I think this team could really make some noise.
And that's a big one for this as we go into this best of 3 eventually. Cyno versus Layerssss is kind of a real throwback to the old console days too. Those both played against each other.
That's true. They did way back in the day, and that was one of those matchups that was always going to be exciting one way or the other. I think that Cyno has certainly elevated his game to a very, very high level since those days. A Worlds MVP, a legitimate superstar in the SMITE Pro League, and now in the SMITE Challenger Circuit. circuit. I think that Layers is trying to emulate that path pretty closely, but I'm excited to see what he can do this year for sure.
I'll be honest, boys and girls, the speed of the games has been pretty quick today, so we've got so much to cover.
Yeah.
If you've only just been tuning in this week and you don't know exactly what's going on here, these are qualifiers to get into the SEC. It's basically the renamed minor league to an extent, which is going to be a couple more phases. So the players will play in this open bracket each week. Top 4 teams go through to a group play, and the winners of those groups will establish themselves in the first SEC. So really, we get to see the best of everybody out there. This is a free-to-enter tournament for anyone at the weekend. Even if you've got a rookie team and you want to see how you're going to do, this is the place to do it.
And it's worth your time because this isn't the end of the road. Even if you don't make it into that SMITE Challenger circuit, we've got that SOC, the open circuit, coming up. So that's where you can get a little bit of experience here. Even if you don't make it, start to compete in that SOC and start climbing your way up, man. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Definitely. And the one thing about the SOC as well is that, well, in the old days when we used to have the open brackets, this is the fun time. You get to see the rookies up against almost established ex-pros, and there's a chance you can see wins. For example, what we just saw there, Baskin versus Cyno's team. I would arguably say on paper, Baskin's team is the more,
sure. They have 5 former SPL players.
But then again, Cyno's team just have 2 World Championship winners, so it's kind of an even balance.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good players on their team for sure, but Żtuart, unproven at the high level, but has had a lot of hype around him and the way that he's played really well in ranked these last few months. I think he's going to do really, really well at this sort of environment. I'm excited about their team.
So, it's opening weekend. We have to have a tech issue. We won't be too long, though. We're going to have a quick pause as we get this one sorted out for you all. And after the break, we'll be back with these finals. Tomorrow will be fine, don't worry. Here we go. See, I told you we'd be on a break for a minute or two, and that'll be it. Into game we go then. Welcome back, Hype Unit versus Locked and Goated. And straight away, andinster, you're a support. Why are you at their jungle buff?
This is what he's been doing the whole day so far, but this is the first time he's just started at the speed and auto-attacked it down, Sobek it up. A little surprised we don't see Uzzy rotate over and try and just stop that from him. That's what we saw RelentlessOne do whenever it was Gino trying to do the exact same thing against Cyno, but andinster forces Layers off his buff. Susano, not a great level 1 character, doesn't have great clear or fight potential at that time, so no surprise that he doesn't want to really scrap at that point.
I always love the start of a season for the simple reason is nobody really knows what the optimum start is. Nobody knows what the optimum build is. Everyone's kind of watching to work out what other people are doing and then adjusting based off that. I just feel like this tournament, though, where we saw a lot of Season 6 style play at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you start with what you know, and what you know is invading like that, but Uzzy might not have been prepared for andinster on this side. Of course, only still level 1, so it doesn't have a pluck available in order to reposition Uzzy, but a little surprised at the way that Visions wanted to start. Vision just starts over there on that left-hand side. Looks like he does at least get a little bit of pressure going for Gryph, but not as much as he wants.
Mid lane, a lot of pressure on Cyno already. He got aggressive, but maybe bit off more than he can chew. oBoronic gets credit for the kill, but a lot of that came from Layers and the support of VisionsvR. 3v2, you expect it to go poorly.
Cyno just a little bit too aggressive, but we saw this exact same story whenever he played set jungle up against Baskin and the boys in the semifinals. A slow start and eventually became an unstoppable monster in the late game. Like to see Hype Units try and keep him down in the early if they can afford to.
And this just causes more problems for Locked and Go in this early stage against Hype Unit because, well, not only did their jungler die in the early game engagement in the mid lane, and he soaked some experience off of RelentlessOne in the solo lane, he's also down a little bit in form for now the solo experience side, as is his mid area.
But Gryph is a little bit behind Żtuart because Vision started over on that left-hand side.
That's
so there is at least some sort of balance, at least for the moment. Layers gets the whole back camp, and it's just a little bit too late to get involved there. But this meta, I wonder if we're going to start to see less hogs, more of what Cyno's doing, starting at his own purple buff, because that is one of the earlier spawn buffs. But if you know that's happening, can your support just go over and make sure they don't get purple guaranteed? That's what's fun about the beginning of a season. You get the hypothesis on what is best, and then you get to test that hypothesis in weeks to come.
And the whole thing of the Hand of the Gods being a consumable now in the game, only being used in your own jungle camp, it becomes a game of rock, paper, scissors for me. It's like, hey, are they going to invade, is that rock? And then you've got scissors, which is, well, now I've got Hand of the Gods. And then there's paper for the other version of, well, just don't go aggressive in the first place. So it's a bit of a mixture of, like, do you make them waste gold by looking like you're going to invade? And then again, there's also the vision shard conversation, because that changes the wards at the start.
It does. It makes sure that you have near perfect information if you want it. Yeah, the Hand of the Gods, I just don't know that let's say Layers gets Hand of the Gods this game,
Yeah.
right? And andinster shows up and he's on a speed buff. Layers hogs speed, but still takes extra damage, still had to spend that 100 gold, and then he still can't go to backs.
That's true.
He still can't do what he wants to do. He still has to change his pathing.
Still going to get chased around is what we're talking about.
Exactly,
there, right?
like it doesn't stop you from
Oh, Żtuart under a bit of pressure here, but will leap away to safety. Actually dropped his ultimate there defensively. He's in the jungle now. Layers under a lot of pressure. Did flip him into danger. In the sky, though, see the ult coming from RelentlessOne. Double tap did not connect, just a single. However, the dot damage from the poison will not be enough. Meanwhile, Żtuart again gets his leap up, gets his leap used.
Listen, you get away, but not by much. RelentlessOne didn't have the wall available, I'd guess, or thought he'd have the damage, and so didn't use the full combo, didn't get a chance to fully auto-cancel the whole kit. So ends up not being the first death on Hype Unit, but still good use of that ultimate. RelentlessOne struggled with this Thor pick a little bit when Locked and Goated had it in the semifinals up against Bastion and the boys. Game 1, he was up against Aquarius on Jorm. Did get solo, did make an impact until later on, but had a game-changing dunk by the enemy red buff, so maybe he can be a little bit more in rhythm at the beginning of this game than he was last time he picked it.
Yeah, if you don't recognize RelentlessOne here, his former name was Russian Pappy, which has definitely been around the scene for a while.
Yep.
And I didn't know this, but he's a twin brother with Gino.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. I didn't know that.
Twin brothers, yeah. They look identical. I don't think they're technically identical, but they look like it. I don't know how that works.
So how do we check on like if they're playing on each other's accounts? Can we even do that?
How
How do we know it's not Gino now?
Well, that can be true for anyone who lives in the same house as someone.
That's
right?
true.
That's like we don't check your birth certificate when you log in. It's just
Should.
Should. Okay. If you
I
say
know
so.
why. Yeah, why not, right? One kill so far in this one for Hype Unit. They're up just the actual first blood gold differential between the two. But we have noticed that Locked and Goated have been focused actually in that dual lane. Hype Unit have been pressuring that dual lane onto Żtuart pretty heavily in the early game, whereas Hype Unit focusing more around the middle area of the map. But that's where the majority of the farm is still.
It is. I mean, with this new split mid-harpy, it's like, okay, can we really afford to lose a whole lot of pressure and lose both sets of mid-harpy?
Fighting the dual lane as Żtuart takes on Gryph. Gryph's got backup coming in. And Żtuart didn't know about it, but he will leap in, looking for the aggression on Gryph. Tornado hits, but forces the beans out of Żtuart. Żtuart looking for the killing response, but will not find it. Layers brings him down, and Gryph played that pretty well.
Good bait by Gryph. Didn't have enough mana to ult, and you know that he would have loved to just buy him a ton of time up in the sky. Slow Żtuart down, get him his cooldowns back, but ends up not needing it in the end anyways.
Definitely something I want to talk about as the time goes on with Żtuart.
Nice
But at the
play.
moment, great play from Oboronic looking for the kill on Pegon. Will have to use the ultimate at the tail end, but who cares? You're Morrigan anyway, you're going to transform back. A good pickup for Hype Unit to give them the third kill of the game.
Oboronic just looks very comfortable on this Morrigan pick. He played a good amount of it, if my memory serves me properly. In
Nice
that SMITE
speed from
console.
Oboronic. And now Andy's under a lot of pressure. Lurking the water's force, so he's got a bit more tankiness to him. But the walls clap down and the rotation in from Gryph will also force the shell. Hype Unit really in control of this one so far.
I mean, Oboronic uses his beads, but look at what he gets in return. Shell from Andy, ult from Andy, beads from Cyno. Good rotation in by Gryph. Uses his own ultimate in addition to that ult from Terra, but still is able to make sure that those relics go on cooldown. Hype Unit looks like a team, which is what you would expect so far. This is I mean, Locked and Goated, a bunch of good players that are just starting to practice together and get used to playing with one another. Gel, exactly. This Hype Unit squad, it's a bunch of players that have played together before. Uzzy, who is a pretty easygoing guy to team with, I can tell you from experience. And Visions playing support, which was not his normal role, but was the coach for this team. And he was a support main before he became a coach. So you know he's pretty comfortable with these guys as well.
Still a lot of Chernobog though for this opening weekend for my liking. A bit surprised by that. I mean, he wasn't like overly valued in Season 6. Is the rotations that important now? Or did his itemization change?
I think he builds rage pretty well because he can get to so many fights and get stacks really easily, and is just one of those gods that with the increased attack speed in that after you land in that ultimate, you feel like you can really make plays pretty well. Just a good god.
Just trying to buy some time here. Was proxying the wave and got a rotation out from Layers in the jungle. Thinking about coming back down, which is a little bit risky, but we always knew from that moment he was going to be okay with the ultimate ult as long as he didn't Make too many mistakes though.
Uzzy still has cage, but no mana for it.
Disappointing too, and it's Uzzy who's in danger now as he leapt into the whole world of hurt from the two of them. Cyno gets credit for the kill, and that works out great for Locked and Loaded. They're on the board.
Man, just a rookie mistake there from Uzzy. There's no world in which he kills RelentlessOne in that moment. I mean, even if he gets enough mana to use cage, he's going to auto attack him down from 80%.
Yeah.
In that time, it's just not going to happen. Too aggressive on the jump.
Andy's running back of the team here, trying to get aggressive. Help out his teammate, but already Pegon's dead. Layerssss does the donkey work, but Imag's going to turn around kill with a look in the waters. Cyno will thread the Ẓtuart through to secure that kill, but now Andy's in a bit of trouble. Gryph has got him in an awkward spot, but backup's coming. It could be Gryph in a world of hurt now, trying to buy as much time as he can, darts in the wall back towards the mid lane, but the chase is still on.
We're going to slow him down. Good Mjolnir's attunement from RelentlessOne to give him a path out, but a great route from Vision should secure a death.
Oh, and it will. The wall was there, but he just couldn't get to the hammer in time to get away. Was looking for the escape route. On top of that, though, even if he jumps through that wall, Odin now, it's a little bit OP, Ryan. He can deal damage with his wall.
Yeah, he is pretty good, I'd say.
Pretty?
He's pretty good,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm willing to say that. I do think that we'll see how good he is at a competitive level, but he's felt very, very strong to me in ranked and in lower-end competition like that. You have to have a good team coordination. The only way you're not taking damage and getting out of the cage in time is either letting it expire or getting someone to break the wall for you.
Fury started up here. VisionsvR, the only one around to try and slow this down, and they pull it out of the wall to prevent it, and then blocking it in danger as he claps his hands. No follow-up kill from Locked and Goated there. I think Visions could have been a kill, but Locked and Goated played it safer. They wanted to fall back. They were worried about a potential re-engage.
Probably not a whole lot of cooldowns available. Ẓtuart ulted the Gold Fury to try and get it down in time. Pegon probably used one rotation of abilities, changed stance, used another rotation. And Merlin cooldowns are pretty long, even with the 30% CDR Pegon already has. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just didn't have anything left in the tank to try and kill Visions.
Now, Ẓtuart's a name that we've not really seen too much through the Pro League or even discussed in competitive play, but he's starting to get a bit of a name for himself with the pro players, more and more recognizing that he has quite a lot of ability.
He's a good player, for sure. I mean, you watch him lane against some of the best in ranked. I mean, I know he's a frequent up against Zappin whenever Zap's streaming, and those two usually have pretty good battles. I think Ẓtuart has a really good chance to become a really good ADC, not just at this level, but maybe able to make an impact.
Oh, RelentlessOne will just get to this guy in time. I don't think there's enough dot damage on him for him to die. But where's his exit strategy going to be? It's going to be to the right-hand side in mid lane, though. Progression from Vision still going on towards andinster. Health bar low on Pegon. He jukes out the ultimate coming through there at the tail end from Layerssss over the wall. Or it could have been Veronica, excuse me. There's now the pressure in mid. It's just pushing in. The pick on Visions won't happen. The wall was down just in time, giving him that passive availability.
Good idea by andinster, though. If that pluck goes through, Cyno's there with ultimate, no way Vision survives in that moment.
Gold Fury started up here on the left-hand side. Tell a lie, no, it was Oracles that she was going on. But the jungle is still fighting here with Cyno gets aggressive, forcing away Layerssss at the same time. Andy will pick up Oboronic on that too. Ẓtuart connects from Cyno, but no further follow-up available. There's a red buff here. Gryph will secure it, but now he puts himself in a bit of trouble. Jumps in the wall, jumps out. Cyno still chasing. Gryph aware, will ult to the sky, go back in on Ẓtuart.
He's going to look for the kill, but a shell is solid from Andy. Stun better from Visions, and Gryph might be out.
Vision's doing great work in this game, if I'm honest. I think he's had a good couple of plays to really help out his team. As Cyno goes in and doesn't know Layerssss was waiting in the wings. Cyno falls down as the chase on Gryph is good. Gryph is doing a really good job of baiting.
This dude's a beast, man. I mean, I know that he wasn't a part of that hype unit team that came to LAN and really impressed. That was Erupt Crimson who was playing ADC for them, and he really impressed a lot of pros with his play. But Gryph was the guy on that team before him. Gryph took a step back, took a split off from competitive, and definitely has a lot of talent. He's up a level right now on Ẓtuart, who we were just talking about, has a lot of potential, and I think that the same could be said for Gryph.
7-4 then in favor of hype units so far. The gold actually is in Locked and Goated's favor ever so slightly. So it's still a pretty even game, even though kills won't tell you otherwise. All the towers still available too at the moment. See how this one continues, because I'm excited about when we get to an actual full-on team fight here, right? These solo lanes getting involved.
I think both teams have pretty good team fights as Layerssss catches the Thor perfectly off the Typhoon.
That was clean.
It sets up a kill. Yeah, that's a dude who's played a lot of Susano. Layerssss looking real clean.
As RelentlessOne there as well. You're under your tower, you're out of mana, you've done everything you can to escape. You're just going to have to accept death there. Yeah, I do realize that he actually beat, but I don't think he could have even used them anyway.
No, actually, maybe if he beats the knockup, he's out. But I don't think he had him at the time. Maybe he got him after he died. Hitting level
Playing
15.
aggressive, hits the ricochet, beats burn for the stun, and Cyno comes in to clean it up. But Ẓtuart says, no, I want that kill, but now Ẓtuart's in danger because he's overextended. He leaps in, down, it won't happen. At the tail end, that was actually Boronic there. For a second, everyone might have been confused about the second Chernobog involved, as now Ẓtuart has to fall back as Layers comes in, and Cyno bit off more than he can chew.
This whole team has done a really good job of baiting Cyno a couple times. And Cyno is really, I don't know if it's disrespect is the right word, but been like, oh, well, what is this guy doing? And then immediately getting punished for it.
Now Andy under pressure, even through the lurk in the waters at level 10.
Nice too.
The chop damage out of Layers on that Susano is going to punish, especially with a Transcendence and that Crusher in tow.
Huge.
Layers are doing great work here. 6-1-1.
He got that kill on the right-hand side, back spot, blink and Transcendence, immediately goes left, picks up another kill.
And gets 24 stacks.
Another 2 kills and gets a whole bunch of stacks because of it, because he killed Cyno and Andy on that rotation. This has been an impressive showing so far from Hype Unit, but it's all been skirmishes. They've skirmished well. What's their macro play like? How are they playing the map? They aren't farming nearly as well as Locked and Goated. Despite having double their kills, they're not exactly killing it in the farm game.
Be a little bit careful here. Just used his hammer. Has to up to the sky, but won't get a chance. The burst damage out from Layers' ultimate there was just too much to handle. I don't even know about that trade against Boronic. It was a little bit risky with his mana pool.
I mean, Boronic low, didn't have Aegis at the time. That was probably called out, so it seems like a good idea, but here's the way that I always think about things like Thor Hammer on her jump. Would I, or like Giannis Portal is a better example. Would I on her jump in this spot? Would I up down with Hoyu?
I mean, if you're a solo laner, you are forced to up down.
That's in your contract, right? But RelentlessOne is a solo laner, is throwing the hammer in place the same as the up down, probably.
Kind of the same,
but
yeah.
Here's the thing that solo laners love about Thor: they get to up down twice in the same kit. They get to up down with the hammer, they get to up down with the ultimate. How could they ever resist? That's why every solo laner loves playing Thor.
It's a fair play. That's why we don't see Bologna, because Thor's taking the thunder there.
Why up down once when you can do it twice?
Oni Fury started up now by Hype Unit, and at this point in the game, an Oni Fury can be pretty useful for getting some pressure around the Fire Giant. Sure, no towers down just yet. Like to have to defend against them. Cause some problems.
Got his hammer.
Now with the Gold Fury, like Oni Fury being reset though, it's going to be a bit of a fight off, and he's here on the front line to slow them down. Visions dropping the turret just to make sure they get the heals off, or should I say the walls. As Layers will take the red, the pressure around the Fury kind of subsides for a second or two here. No real extra panic out of everybody. With the solo laners around, it could be anyone's.
I like that disengage from Hype Unit. I know I just said I want to see them play around objectives better, but Griff didn't have any relics at the time. They were both down. That's one Thor dunk away from losing your lead entirely. I think that was the right idea to back it up for the moment. You've got a couple carries getting relics up soon. Let's just get those up, and then we can try and play aggressively.
RelentlessOne still on this left-hand side, though. Solo lane has pretty much been abandoned for now, but Cyno will at least go over and farm up some experience there. Those towers are both on the last legs in the solo lane, so it's not going to make much of a difference. A couple of minions will bring those down. We've not really had a chance, though, to talk about builds just yet. The games have been so frantic in terms of kills so far this year, which is what you would kind of expect in these qualifiers. But build options for mid is where I want to kind of start things off. We've seen a lot of this Chronos Pendant choose a focus rush, and Divine Ruin seems to be the go-to item third.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have healing that you want to shut down, so it doesn't surprise me at all to see Divine Ruin, but it's really the only flat pen option that's not expensive, and because Deso is pretty expensive. There are gods that want it, but do you really need to get 40% CDR super early on? Not really on a lot of gods.
And what's percentage pen going to do for you early, right? Might as well go for the flat option.
Exactly. It's more efficient damage in that spot. We've seen a lot more Staff of Mirrodin as well. It's only been for Pegon, and it's only been on Merlin, but it got 10% pen. It can be very, very strong on Merlin. You have to be worried about which cooldown you're using, though.
Yeah.
If you use your 2 in both Frost and Fire stance, your second 2 will remove the first one. Those are both deployables.
But then a double flicker is not a bad idea either,
double
right?
flicker is very good. Double frostbolt is very good. If you can channel 2 whole flames on someone, that's pretty strong. I don't mind seeing a little bit more Staff of Mirrodin. Not every character uses it very well, but it can be strong.
And I think that's the one thing about the start of the year. The builds are going to be very flexible. No one's, like you said, going to really know exactly what's good and bad just yet. We're all still trying to work that out. And funny enough, talking more about itemization, Hunters, at the moment, we've seen a lot more of Rage all of a sudden. No surprise, Izzy got a lovely buff to it, and everyone is quite happy about that.
Yeah, everyone. All of us. Very happy.
If you're a Hunter player, sorry.
Yeah, Hunter players should be happy about it. I don't know about all of us. Żtuart doesn't seem to love it, though. I don't think I've seen him go with that Rage early in any of the games. He's thinking pretty consistent with this Executioner third. This time it's an Odysseus bow, and I wonder if that's to try and reveal Oboronic whenever he's going into that stealth. It's just a pretty good item in general, and you want it at some point, but I don't know about necessarily fourth item.
I also I think people undervalue Odysseus spell. Hold that fort, Relentless under pressure again, has to beat, drops the wall, gets to the sky, just in time. Meanwhile, the rest of his team are on the Oni Fury. At least 2 members. Żtuart is there, but now he's brought the team in. Layers blinks in, drops it, and steals away the Oni Fury. But can Layers get away again? Boronic's in the backside with the Morrigan, pressuring onto Żtuart, who's trying to juke out away from Glyph, and Glyph has to swoop into danger to do so. But now he's taking a 1v1 against Pegon. Meanwhile, on this left-hand side, Cyno's trying to live. Uzzy will come over the wall to secure that kill. A double kill for Gryph.
And Uzzy out of there, no problems at all. So tanky on this level 17 Odin. In fact, he may have baited them into a bad spot.
Now he's stunned in place. No escape as Uzzy gets the kill. Now this is an opportunity for what Hype Unit want to do. They only lost Gryph here. Can they do FG, or is it towers you focus on?
I think you go towers. FG's just a little bit too tanky. You just don't have enough damage, and andinster can cause you so much delay on that Fire Giant that I don't love it. I think tier 1 into Pyromancer is the call, but what a great team fight from Hype Unit. Layers makes a great individual play, blinks in, steals the Gold Fury, but it's not just the steal. He does a lot of relevant damage at the same time.
Yeah.
Oboronic picks a great target to transform into, forces Żtuart's beads and jump. Gryph doesn't panic on that ultimate, holds it until Żtuart's escapes her down, goes on to him, and then is willing to play aggressively again. That's the thing, is that Gryph, I think when we saw him play up against higher level competition, I thought that he played a little bit too passively at times, was maybe a little bit scared of the moment. This is, you know, the big stage for him since that LAN. This is the first time he's been on a stage against players of this caliber. And seeing him play this aggressively is a great sign in my mind.
And the big key there is that he used his escape to engage there, which puts him in a much worse position. Seeing him do that shows that he's playing aggressive, he's happy to be in that moment. Full credit to Layers there, though, because I think RelentlessOne did a pretty good job. He kept 3 people busy in mid, but Layers just recognized the danger, blinks off the wall, makes a good individual play that comes up trumps. Worst case scenario for Locked and Goated, though, your solo laner does what you want him to do, is buy time for you to do the Fury,
and
but then you still lose the Fury.
It's just a good team fight by Hype Unit. They're all doing their jobs very well. And how about Visions, by the way? 0-0 and 9, subbing in, not the usual guy for this team. That's Leon's spot most of the time, but Vision stepping in and having a phenomenal game.
Pressure in plays again, but it's watching the rest of the squad, or should I say Pegon rather. Sandy with Bison, splitting the difference in mid. Blinking from Uzzy though, but Uzzy does not get anywhere near where he wants to, and now he's caught in no man's land. Has to leap away from Cyno. Rotation coming in from Relentless to the right-hand side here. As now Hype Unit starts to take a bit of control of this map with that mid tower being down in the mid and the right-hand side. They're looking at this Pyro.
They absolutely should. They know that Pegon's Aegis is down now. The level of respect that Locked and Goated have to give Layers on a full-on commit is a little bit too much.
Nice pressure onto Cyno here. Cyno not really panicking yet. That was a very late beads at the tail end. Worried about the pull-in, I guess, from Oboronic, who transformed, and now with that transformation, could knock up Relentless, who just about avoids it there. Double tap connects, but not a whole lot of damage. It only hits Uzzy, and he will get Phantom through the wall there. Lovely use of abilities to escape for now away from that Odin. At the tail end of this, Cyno still has his ultimate. Everybody else on cooldown.
Cyno has that all-in potential. Another upgraded shell pickup for Cyno. He loves this on set. Basically acts as a pseudo Aegis. It prevents a lot of damage coming your way, but lets you keep doing your damage and healing and doing your damage, which is the big part of set.
Fire Giant started up, taking a bit of time as Żtuart is the furthest forward on his team, and he gets a ton of damage for it. Will try and get away from the root, but won't. Aegis connects, but Żtuart's still alive. Visions, on the other hand, not to be. Layers was still on the FG, and he's going to fall back to base now. And now with the re-engagement from Locked and Goated, one by one, like dominoes, they're going to fall down and give up the pressure around the FG. Uzzy's just going to try and buy as much time as possible.
This is great, though. He's going to get a good amount of damage onto Cyno. Cyno can't heal in that cage. In fact, Cyno's losing this trade pretty handily. Uzzy needs to find the Gungnir's Smite.
And Uzzy's still trying to give chase. The backup is there, though, with the Merlin from mid from Pegon.
Oh,
the shield is too much. And Uzzy's really showing how powerful Odin can be. It took 4 members there at the end to really bring him down. And Cyno will be counting his blessings on his teammates.
Close one. Shouts to Pegon doing Merlin damage to tanks, because Uzzy had no magic D at the time, just now finishing a Genji's guard. This is the problem, though, and this is where the one-time hype unit isn't perfectly executing the whole game plan and everyone's doing their job. They're a little bit desynced. They get crushed in the team fight. That's the burden now for hype unit, is understanding that they have to do it basically perfectly every time.
Layers just got pulled by Andy, and the double tap from Relentless fired off before the wall there, funny enough. Layers did manage to get away just in time. I will say, I think Uzzy's little escapade towards Cyno there allowed hype unit to not lose too much in that engagement.
Yep.
They could have potentially lost a Fire Giant if Uzzy falls earlier.
Don't forget, Uzzy was an Odin main for a long time. Old Odin, of course. It's no surprise to me that he is really taken to this new version of Odin, because it just feels outright stronger in every way. 2 Furies down so far, and obviously you can see the minimap, the Oni Fury minions have been dissipated for now. But you'll see some changes to the minimap as time goes on. Oboronic needs some help and won't get any over there. Too far, too forward against 2 members on his own. That's no man's land, that. Yeah, that's a bad play by Oboronic. Just a little bit too far forward, and that kills a lot of your momentum if you're hype unit. This gives a great opportunity for Locked and Goated to get a much-needed Oni Fury and start push. Oh no, it's just regular Gold Fury, but still would get them in the lead.
And now Uzzy's going to have to hang around here and try and prevent this. Stuart's not giving up just yet. They're just poking away towards the back line of Griff. And Griff under pressure gets some help from Visions. Meanwhile, on the front side of this fight, Uzzy is dealing with 3 members still as long as he can. Drops the ring. Layers comes in. Looks for the damage onto Pegon. He does a good job of staying alive for now. Relentless takes down Layers. And Uzzy, who's been buying as much time as possible, is kind of out of cooldowns and needs more help. Remember, all the while, Oboronic has not been involved in this fight because of his death earlier.
Can respawn soon, but won't have that ultimate even then. Griff still standing tall, trying to get something. A great stun from Visions, but still not enough.
And now with the tail end, Visions will be left on his own and ends up falling down. Uzzy back to base. This will be a Gold Fury, even a Fire Giant.
Could be. With Oboronic and Uzzy up, I think Fire is a little bit too ambitious.
TP from Uzzy, comes to the backside, sees Cyno's relatively low there. Good plug from Andy just to separate a little bit more. And Uzzy going to give chase more now. Realizing Cyno's going to go back to base, he's just here to warrant the other members away. I know we saw that tick damage coming out too. Mystical Male, back on the cards, boys.
No surprise, man. This is what all solo laners love, right? Mystical Male. They hate it in lane. I think they love it whenever they get to rotate around and just deal that extra magical damage every second.
That was the one reason I think we didn't see it so often. It was great for helping with additional wave clear if you're kind of a weaker solo laner, but it also gives you that dot damage in team fights when people don't want to focus you.
It's just, you have to, gods like Wukong that you can, or Chuck that you can just kind of walk around sometimes that you're like, okay, he hit me with his buttons and now I walk away. You can't do that as easily with Mystical Male being meta. You have to respect them at some point, because eventually that tick damage will add up.
And obviously, we talked about Odysseus bow for Ẓtuart earlier on too, and one thing I was going to say I like about that is that it can kind of stop people blinking, using those blinks as effectively.
Sure.
Mystical Male does the same thing. That tick damage could really slow down your blinks. Gold Fury taken there by Locked and Goated, as things have gone through there. 16 to 13 in this one, 26 minutes in. We'll see how this goes.
I mean, at this point, you're looking for what Layers can do now that it's a full 5-on-5. He was dominating in these 2v2, 3v3s, those smaller skirmishes, but he's got to find a way to be able to do the same thing in those 5-on-5s, because it's a lot harder now. You just don't have any protection. You're the damage bot. You got to pick your spots really, really well.
Quick pause as you saw there between the two. And at the moment, I don't really have a favourite in this one. I mean, at the moment, Locked are going up in a little bit of gold, but when they've grouped up nicely, they've done well. However, so have Hype Unit. Hype Unit's been really good at the objectives like that. They take